Today, we're diving into the essential pruning and training techniques that are going to help you maximize your cannabis grow and improve your overall quality. Today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Recharge. If you want stronger, healthier plants, if you want bigger roots for better fruits, you gotta check out Real Growers Recharge. It's like an instant compost tea that holds more nutrients at your root zone, breaks those nutrients down, and makes them more plant available, getting more of your nutrients into your plants. Find out more about Recharge over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. Come on, Hi C, you ready to jump into this?
I am, man. So I'm intrigued by the promise of bigger yields, but you also mentioned plant health, and I haven't really thought about pruning and trimming for plant health. How does it affect plant health?
Sure. Nature attacks the weak. We got to watch out for bugs and funguses and all that stuff. So we got to make sure we've got good airflow in there. We want to make sure that we're only growing strong tops, strong plant material. When we're leaving a bunch of weak plant material in shaded areas, old growth that's not getting light anymore and nutrient anymore, all that is just prime target for bugs and pathogens, molds and mildews to start up. So we want to keep that plant clean.
Oh, you know what? You also mentioned one time that by having all that excess weak plant area, it's sucking up some of those nutrients that could be going to the stronger, more potent areas that you want it going to.
Of course, man. So yeah, you got a lot of issues. So you want to focus that energy to where it's going to get a lot of light, a lot of airflow, because don't forget there's CO2 in that air.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it, and let's start off with topping. This is something that you kind of drilled into my head. What exactly is topping, and why does it work?
Topping super easy. We've all seen cannabis plants. We've all seen the stereotypical one that looks like a Christmas tree, the one giant cola going up. Yeah. That's great. I mean, when I first looked at High Times, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. It's really cool.
It's as fat as a baby's arm.
But there's only one of them. When you look at those pictures, it'd be one giant central cola, and the top of that plant is called the apical meristem. So that's what they're doing. They're growing one giant apical meristem. That's great if you want just one cola, but we want multiple flowering sites. I want to fill up that whole canopy. So we've got to redirect that energy.
Okay, great. Let's talk about that. You tend to cut off that main stem, and why does that work? What does it do?
It redistributes those auxins, these growth auxins, for what it's worth. Consider them hormones. That top is getting the most of them. It's the apical meristem. So it's going, that's what they call that top. Once you cut that off, where is it going to bring those growing hormones? It's going to push them out to the sides. It's going to grow multiple tops.
All right, besides topping, you introduced me to a new phrase,
FIMing, F-I-M-I-N-G, fimming. Yeah, you'll see that a lot. It's a little bit different than topping. Topping, you're cutting off at the stem. You're removing everything. With fimming, you're actually going to that budding site or that new growth, and you're cutting it. When I say budding site, we're in vegetative growth here. Okay. We're not talking about a bud. We're talking about the new shoot that comes up, and you're cutting. Do we have a picture?
I've got it pulled up right now.
Thanks. Yeah, you're cutting about 3/4 of that off, and the idea is there's little places in there that are going to come up, and they're going to make multiple budding sites. So instead of getting one budding site, you'll get 2, or with fimming, you should get 4.
And so I'm looking at this, and it looks like it's at like one of the nodes or something?
Yeah, above the node.
Above the node.
Right above the node, and you're cutting that, I call it a budding site, but it's not. I'll have to Google it and say what to call it, but right there you're cutting it. You can see in that picture.
And what does this do for you?
It's going to grow multiple tops. As to where you just got one flowering site, now you're going to get, with fimming, you can get up to 4. I've seen up to 4 on there.
Holy cow.
Yeah, okay. It's cool. By the way, do fimming when it's young, though. I don't. From what I've seen, I don't see people fim a lot once the plants are really mature. It's mostly something that's done in the first month of veg.
Okay, and when I think about trimming or pruning or this technique called fimming, immediately what comes to my mind is that going to stress my plant out?
A little bit. Yeah, when you cut the top off the plant, it is going to stress it out. But what do we like? We like just the right amount of stress with these plants, man. Just keep them on their toes. Just keep them growing.
And you've made the analogy of like training, exercising.
Sure.
You need a little bit of resistance. You need a little bit of stress.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump into low stress training.
Sure. Low stress training is pretty much just bending and shaping the plants where you want them.
Okay, so less stressful than actually taking a butcher's knife to your plants.
Yes, and even high stress training. We'll talk sometimes about just literally bending the plant over and crimping it. Low stress training is just, sometimes we'll use a trellis, sometimes we'll use bamboo stakes, but we'll just weave them in and out, or we'll pull them over and maybe zip tie them to the sides.
Okay, and this does what for your plants?
This is going to expose more of the light to the flowering sites. So you might have plant material and flowering sites that are way down 2-3 feet down on the plant, so the light can't penetrate it. And so once you spread that out, that light can penetrate in, and then all of a sudden those little tiny flowering sites are now getting the light energy. They're getting airflow in there so they can get the CO2. Now you've got a chance of, instead of these being those little white wispy buds, being something that you'd be happy to enjoy.
Okay, and I've seen the way that you do it is you like to use bamboo stakes. I've also seen people have this kind of like, they call it SCROG, I think.
Yeah, you get a trellis netting and you SCROG it. SCROGing stands for screen of green. So you're basically this netting, I think it's 4-inch holes. It basically has like 4-inch squares in it. And the idea is it gives you a platform. You'd put that maybe 3 foot over your canopy, and it gives you this platform to be able to weave your plants in and out. So you take that straight up, a plant that's 4 foot straight up growing into the lights, maybe 5 foot growing up into the lights. You bend it down without breaking it, and you weave this into your trellis, and you've got this canopy that instead of being vertical is now horizontal, and that's how you get the yields.
Okay, and you use the bamboo stakes. I've never seen you use the trellis. What's the pros and cons of bamboo stakes versus trellis?
Movement. Bamboo stakes, you're able to move them. The problem I got, trellis works great. Only problem I got with it is when there's a 8 foot by 10 foot net over my canopy, kind of becomes hard to address them individually. If I've got something that I want to trim off, if I got an area that I want to get to in the center, I got to start crawling down underneath that canopy, Right,
but if your bamboo stakes are in the bucket, you can just move the bucket around and twist it and get to those areas without being kind of locked into the trellis.
And you can do pretty innovative things with the bamboo stakes. You can have them go up and over and up again. You can just have them go from one side of the plant to the other and then over that way. These are very flexible when they're healthy plants, when they're filled with water. So you can really play with these and get some big yields out of them.
Okay, and then one last thing before we're out of here. Bamboo stakes, we don't have to worry about it because we're vision impaired.
Yes, the biggest issue with bamboo stakes is they can poke you in the eye. They're sharp. If you've got 20 of these, or I also have 10 or 12 of these in each of my containers, each of my 4-gallon containers, that's a lot of colas, but when you go bend down, it's very easy to poke your eye out. So I was cruising around Home Depot, and I found these. These are rebar caps. They're meant for when you're doing concrete work. And I think I bought 100 of them for a few bucks, maybe $10. And man, this is the solution. So definitely, if you're going to use bamboo stakes, get some rebar caps. Hey, but that's just how I do pruning and trimming. I want to know how you do it. Do you use the bamboo stakes? Do you use a lattice or a trellis? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I hope you will like them.